Hello and welcome back or to my channel. My name is Faiza and this is going to be part 4 of the X-Files. Bismillah. Now, Pan and I made it past the whole theater experience, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you are really going to want to go back to part 3. Every part needs to be watched in order, so please go back to 3 if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. But we were able to make it past that theater experience, and then somehow we came to September 1st. The very next day was my birthday. My birthday is September 2nd. So Pan had booked a hotel. Now, I was really excited, you guys, because I had never celebrated my birthday outside of family and friends. Never. All right. And even friends, the friends came over. I didn't have this big group of friends. It was 1 or 2 people. They came over. It was a family. All of us were together. Okay. I had never been in a position where I went out to celebrate my birthday and we were at a restaurant or going out and spending the night on the town. Never. Okay. So it was so exciting to have the opportunity to go to a hotel with somebody that I loved and celebrate my birthday. When I tell you guys, I never had that experience. I'm telling you, I never experienced something like this in my life. All right. I walk into that hotel room. There's pictures everywhere. Everywhere. Balloons, rose petals, petals on the bed, petals on the floor, petals everywhere. All right. He had really invested the time in making it incredibly special. He even had a video editor make like a whole montage of our videos and put the song All of Me by John Legend to it. And it was like really romantic. And I was, again, swept off my feet. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best birthday of birthdays. You know, I was so, again, swept off my feet. I never had anything like that. We went to a beautiful dinner at the Signature Room. He had the menu customized, so it said like Faiza on it. It was happy birthday Faiza. It was very, very beautiful. On the table also were Tiffany boxes, like a Tiffany necklace, a Tiffany bracelet, a Tiffany ring, Tiffany earrings. It was just beautiful, you guys. Like, he knew what he was doing. And I want to make it very clear, guys, if I haven't made this clear enough already. I came from the south side of Chicago. Okay, I come from the south side of Chicago. So at this point, as I'm sitting there, I'd never seen Tiffany boxes on the table. I had never seen a Tiffany's box outside of like the movies or with the rich girls in school or things like that. I'd never seen that. And here I was with like 3 or 4 boxes, 4B, flowers, everything. I mean, I was swept off my feet. Every single person in the restaurant was looking at our table. Everybody. People who passed by were like, oh my gosh, oh, that's so romantic. Oh, are you going to propose? And he's like, oh, no, it's her birthday. And I still remember people being like, oh my gosh, if that's what he's doing for your birthday, imagine what he's going to do when he proposes, right? And, oh, keep this one, lady. You're going to want to keep this one. Oh, that's a keeper. And at that point, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so lucky. I mean, here we are in one of the most beautiful restaurants in Chicago with one of the most beautiful views of Chicago. Literally the first time I can actually recall in my life looking at someone and saying, gosh, I'm going to marry this guy. This is going to be the guy that's going to be my husband. And look how amazing. Look how he treats me. So many people would be so jealous. That's what I was thinking. He kept saying the same thing. All I want to do is see you smile. All I want to do is make you happy. Your smile is what I live for. And hearing that it was that me just smiling could make him happy and put him at ease and make him feel so secure and powerful in that relationship, just made me feel like, wow, look, I don't even have to do much. I just have to genuinely be happy. And that's what he was doing at that point, like making me smile. I was happy. I felt truly safe at that moment. If we were a social media couple at that time and we had posted our relationship and things like that, people would have thought we were the perfect couple. Truly. You would have thought, oh my God, I envy them. I wish I could be like that. I wish I had a man like that. The type of man you get when you wait for love. That's what people would have thought. They would have thought, oh, of course Faiza found the one because she took her time and look what she got, right? People would have thought it was magic. It was pure magic. Gosh, for a time it felt that way too. It felt that way. I myself thought like, wow, look at this. It's magical. It's beautiful. What a beautiful relationship. But behind all of that beauty and that illusion, there was so much rot. There was so much rot behind it, really. And it started seeping through when Pan got an invitation to go to one of his friend's parties. He was like, it's going to be a great place to network and you should come by, meet the guys, etc. So Pan's like, do you want to go? It will be a great opportunity for me, and, you know, it'll be fun. We could treat it like a little birthday celebration, like an extension of the birthday, because it was a party. And I would have done anything to help him along in his career or anything that he wanted. So I'm like, absolutely. So he tells me to dress up. It's a fancy party. Let's go. Thankfully, I had like 4 options as a birthday dress. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to use one of them. I ended up wearing like an off the shoulder black midi. It kind of looked very much like a Spaniard, you know, with the ruffly shoulders. It was really cute. It was like fitted and it went like poofed out a little bit at the bottom. Gosh, I love that dress now that I think about it. I kind of wish I would have kept it. But sadly, you know, sometimes clothes hold on to memories that you don't want to relive. And so you'll eventually do what I ended up doing, which is I threw the dress away. Didn't even donate it. I didn't want anybody to even have donation of that memory. Just threw it away in the trash. Come out of the bathroom. Pan sees me and he says, and I'm laughing because I'm like, oh gosh, what's he about to say? And he goes, never mind. Let's just go. And I'm like, no, tell me, what is it? Like, is it my hair? Should I put my hair down? Because he used to love when my hair was down. So I was like, should I just put my hair down? Is it that? And he goes, no, you look fine. Let's go. Then we get to the elevator. Coming down, as we're going down, he's like, are you sure you want to wear that? And I'm like, we're in the elevator now. Like, let's go back up. I'll change. And he goes, no, you're fine. I'm just asking, are you okay with it? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I feel comfortable, but is there something wrong with it? I could just go back and change. And he goes, no, we're fine. We're already here. Let's just go. We get out of the elevator. He orders the Uber. We didn't wait long. Uber comes. Car pulls up. I get in first, and I notice immediately the guy's Musrab. Okay, he has Allah in Arabic on his mirror. He's clearly Arab, and I instinctively blurt out, Assalamu alaikum. Stupid. Pan nudges me a little bit, like, you know, like, what are you doing? And I look at him like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, because again, I didn't think about it. It came out. Let me tell you guys, there is nothing more terrifying to a Musrab girl who is dating a guy she shouldn't be dating, okay, than to be in an Uber or a cab or anywhere with another Musrab judging her about it. Nothing. Because they do what they normally do. They start asking questions just as the driver did. What's your name? What town are you from? Are you guys married? Where are you off to? They feel very entitled to ask you these questions. It doesn't seem like it's intrusive. It never feels like it's intrusive to them. It's more so, well, it's conversational. I'm just asking you a question. If you have nothing to hide, just answer the question. It was not the most comfortable ride over, I will say. It felt like I was sitting in Islamic studies class all over again, and it was terrifying. Uber drops us off. We get to the friend's place and we get in. It's packed. Pan walks over to his friends. They're like sitting in the circle and they all stand up and Pan introduces me. And I'm like, hi, how are you? Hi. I stand to the side while Pan starts having a little conversation with one of the guys. And then his friend comes back over when they're done talking and says, go around, have fun, get relaxed. We're going to talk in a little bit. So that's what we did. Pan takes my hand. We walk out to the balcony and we're hanging out there for a little bit. When we get to the ledge, I look over, just admiring the view. And Pan says, you liked that, didn't you? And I was like what? And he was like, you liked that, right? The way all those guys were giving you attention. You liked that, didn't you? I was so confused. So I'm like defending myself, trying to find a way to show him like, no, I wasn't interested in any of those guys. And Pan knew this, okay? This is something that's so important to know, all right? Pan knew I only had eyes for him. I never looked at any other guys when we were out. He never had to worry about anything like that. I was not entertained by anybody else. I never had an interest in anybody else. My poor soul only had an interest in Pan. And that's how I am when I'm in a relationship, period, okay? I only have eyes for my partner. You could be standing there shirtless. It's as if you don't even exist. He never had a reason to be worrying about me looking for attention from any other guys because I wasn't looking for attention from anybody. I only wanted his attention. So I'm standing there. I'm sorry if I gave you that impression. I don't know what I did. Tell me so I could not do that next time. I'm going on and on and on. And you could see that he's getting very angry, right? So he says, you know what? I'm good. And he turns around, he walks away. And I'm walking behind him because I don't know anybody at this party. I only know Pan. I'm walking behind him, trying to catch up, and it's full. So somewhere he gets lost in between. But I just started continuing to walk straight because I'm like, well, he had to have walked straight, peeking into the rooms as I'm going by to make sure he didn't go into one of them. I get to the end and there's a bathroom. I knock on the door There's no answer. And knock again. Babe, you in there? No answer. I must have been sitting there for maybe about 20 minutes before I decided to go back over to the balcony and wait in the same spot that we had been standing in. Because I'm like, well, he's going to come back, right? As I'm standing there, I must have been standing for maybe less than 5 minutes before a guy approaches me. And I'm like, oh God, please get away from me right now, because if Pan comes over and sees this, I'm so fucked it's not even funny. Guy's like, hi, how are you? You enjoying yourself? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you up to? I'm like, I'm waiting for my boyfriend. So I made it very clear from the beginning, I have a boyfriend. I'm just standing here waiting for him. He just went to the restroom. And the guy keeps going on and on talking. Now, at this time, I didn't know how to excuse myself from a conversation with a man. That's how it is when you grow up in a very traditional family where that's not something that's second nature, okay? I didn't think I could even just walk away. It felt like, oh, a man is talking. I can't just walk away from him right now. That would be rude. I don't want to look rude. Today, of course, it would be very different. I wouldn't even have been standing there. It would have been like, that's nice, excuse me, and walked away. But I'm standing there and just, And even if I'm not entertaining the conversation, Pan walks in and sees me standing there with the guy. I'm like, oh, my boyfriend's here, excuse me. And I walk past the guy, go over to Pan, who once again turns around and walks away from me. He stops, turns back and says to me, you're fucking ridiculous. You know that? You're fucking ridiculous. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, lower your voice. What are you doing? There are people here. And he starts walking, turns around again and says, you know what, let's just get the fuck out of here. Doesn't say goodbye to his friends, nothing, just walks out. So I'm just trailing behind him. Didn't know how to make him calm. I didn't know how to bring him peace. I didn't know what to do. We're walking a few blocks. He's walking fast, ignoring me, and I'm in heels. Can't really walk that fast. Also, my dress was a midi with the puff at the end, so it was a little bit harder to be walking quickly. We just kept walking, and we get to a point where there was like little shops and a laundromat, and he said, I'm going to call an Uber. So he's looking down at his phone and going through it, and the whole time still ignoring me. I'm seeing him like so upset. So I decide to try to resolve it, right? And so I'm telling him, I'm so sorry if I offended you. I don't know what I did, but if you tell me, I will make sure not to do that again. And I just kept going over and kind of repeating that. And the more that I'm explaining, the angrier he's getting. I mean, you could see it in his demeanor, everything. The angrier he's getting, he's like building up with this rage. And I'm seeing him like get angrier and angrier. So I'm like, okay, the best thing to do is just to let this go right now. I was never raised in an environment where you take your private matters and make it public like that. Here I am in this position where somebody's angry and their voice is getting loud and you're hearing the things that they're saying and calling me a whore, and anybody can hear. Anybody who's passing by can hear. Anybody in the laundromat can hear. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. I remember just trying to get him to lower his voice. Lower your voice, please lower your voice. The more I told him to please lower his voice, the angrier he got, the louder he got, okay? I don't give a fuck about my voice. I don't give a fuck about how I sound. And as he's saying that, I'm still thinking like, God, please lower your voice. Please lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear. I don't want anybody to hear what's happening right now. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And then he says, you wore that fucking dress for attention. That's what you did. I just was so confused because I'm like, God, I thought that this guy was so understanding and so in the middle, like a halarami, half halal, half haram. He was okay with the dresses I was wearing. He was okay with me going to the party. And now that was changed. You know, that had completely changed. That was not the guy standing in front of me anymore. Now he was doing the same thing any other Musrab in the community or that I knew would have done, which is, that's haram. You shouldn't be wearing that. You look like a whore. And I'm like, no, what? And I start, again, defending myself. And as I'm doing that, he's getting angrier and angrier. And at this point, he's face to face with me like a football player. I had never experienced something like that. And so I start backing off because I don't know what he's going to do. And as I'm backing up, he's, again, coming forward. And so he gets me into a corner of a shop. It looked like an antique shop or something. And as I'm there, I'm in a corner like this. And these group of guys pass by. Like, they look like a bunch of jocks. They were tall and buff. And all I'm thinking at that moment is like, Thank God. Thank God these guys are here. Because one of them will help me. And some of the guys start yelling. They're like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? That's a woman. And again, I'm waiting any moment that Pan's going to be ripped away from me and they're going to get him away, right? And I'm just waiting there. I'm hearing what's happening. And I'm just in this corner. And Pan turns around and he goes, we're fine, we're fine. Move along, move along. And some of the guys even like imitated him, like, move along, move along. You could tell they were drunk. And that fearlessness that Pan had against this mob of guys at one point used to be so attractive to me. I was like, wow, look how fearless he is. He's so fearless. But at that point, it terrified me. As I can see in the glass windows that guys are passing by this way, I look over and I'm thinking, oh gosh, don't go. Like, I need help right now. And once they walked away, I maneuver my way around Pan and take advantage of the moment, just a moment that he was distracted seeing them pass, to get away from that corner and to start walking down the block again, because I felt more safe. At least if I'm out here, people can see me. And I'm starting to walk as fast as I possibly can like that in the dress. And as I'm walking, and all I remember was just feeling my arm pulled and losing my balance and falling to the floor. Because Pan had grabbed my arm, and again, I lost my balance, crash on the floor. All I hear is, are you fucking kidding me? That's a woman. And Pan picks me back up, like I'm on the floor. He picks me back up, and that's when I get my balance again. I turn around and I see that this tall, slender guy and this very petite girl are like running over to us. She puts herself between me and Pan. The guy's in face to face with Pan, and the girl's right behind him, protecting me. Girl keeps asking me, she's like, are you okay? Do you have a place to go? Do you need an Uber? Do you need a cab? Do you have money to get into a car? And she was yelling at Pan in between, asking me questions. She's like, you're a fucking piece of shit. Are you okay? Do you need anything? And she kept going back and forth, and Pan kept trying to maneuver around the guy, and the guy was literally blocking everywhere he went. Pan starts laughing, and the guy goes, is that a fucking joke? She says, you're not going home with him at all. Do you want to come with us to go get coffee? We're going to get a coffee around the corner. Do you want to come with us? Do you want to come home with me? Do you need a place to stay? She kept saying it over and over and making sure she was making eye contact with me so I could see her and register what she was saying. But I didn't register it. It was all so unreal to me. And hearing Pan continuously say, come on, babe, come on. And the way that he was saying, come on, babe, was soft. Like, come on, babe, come on, let's go. It was like such a contradiction of the chaos of the moment. I couldn't process it. I couldn't process the whole thing. So instead of doing the right thing and going with her and getting the fuck out of there, I went right back with Pan. I told them, no, it was my fault. I did something. You trust me. If you knew the truth, you would know. I put the whole blame on myself, that I had brought him to that point and that it wasn't him, it was me. And she looks at me and she says, are you safe to go? You promise me? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I promise. Thank you so much. I hugged her. I hugged him. And so ashamed. And I went right back with him. And we walked to the car in silence, get into the car, and Pan breaks down and starts crying. I had only seen my dad, Allah yarhamu, cried once when my grandfather, his father, passed away. Outside of that, I had never seen a man cry. And when I saw Pan break down, like sobbing, I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't know how to handle it. He starts saying, I'm fucked up. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm telling you, I'm fucked up in the head. And again, sobbing. And he tells me that, it all started in his family. And he shared with me something that was very traumatic that had happened in his family. And it was pretty bad, Listening to it, of course, I can understand why somebody would be and feel very helpless and very angry. But it gave no excuse for him to put his hands on me. Of course, that didn't register for me at that point. At that point, all I'm thinking is, oh my gosh, no wonder he is the way that he is. That's horrible. Well, that makes so much sense. And I just have to be more patient with him. And he says, that's not the only thing that fucked me up. What happened with my ex? And he proceeds to tell me that he felt betrayed by his ex because not only was he was thinking that she was just sleeping with him and she was a good girl, but she actually ended up shish kebabbing 2 of his friends. And so here he was thinking he had this good, decent girl who was only giving herself to him, and she was cheating on him with 2 other guys, and he was finding out others in between as well. I was shocked, and I looked at him, shocked, all right? And of course, he's thinking I'm just like, wow, that happened to you? That's crazy, right? But what I was thinking was, you told me that your ex was a virgin. That you never did anything and she would never have done something like that because she was such a good, decent Muslim girl. He'd gone through all that time comparing. She was the saint, I was the whore, right? And here I was finding out that she was the hoe. I stopped for a second and I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, right? That's fucking crazy, right? And I'm like, no, Pan, you told me that your ex was a virgin. Remember the Gucci sunglasses? You told me that when you had the whole closure meeting and everything, that I didn't have anything to worry about, that she wouldn't have even touched you because she was a virgin. Did you guys really meet and nothing happened, or did you do something? You should have seen this guy's face being caught in that lie like that. You should have seen. It was pathetic. Even looking back at it, how pathetic, how embarrassing. I don't even know what was more embarrassing, his reaction or me sitting there. I say that with love towards myself. Through this process, the anger and the shame and the frustration I feel with my past self is all just part of the healing. And again, he starts sobbing. I'm trying to comfort him while also trying to make sense of everything that had just happened and everything I was just told. And he says again, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm fucked up. There's something wrong with me. You should just leave me. But if you leave me, I'm done. I'm going to fucking kill myself. And the way he said it, like he meant that. That's what I'm thinking. He means that. He will take it. Look at him. Look at this broken, helpless, pathetic individual that will actually do something like that to themselves. And my heart's saying, because I'm like, I don't want to ever be the reason somebody takes their own life. Today, I would know that that's a narcissist way, an abuser's way of trying to control and manipulate you, to make sure you stay. You don't go anywhere because you feel, what did I talk about in previous parts, responsible for them. All I'm thinking is, I don't want to be responsible for somebody taking their life, for somebody saying, oh, you're out, now I'm out. I didn't want, I couldn't live with myself. Truly, I didn't think I could live with myself with something like that. If it was me today, I wouldn't give a shit. I would have said, Allah yarhamu. Inshallah, you rest in peace wherever you're headed off to, sir. Hope you enjoy the trip. Because I would much rather be attending your funeral than have to be standing by watching mine as a spirit. Okay? But I didn't think this way at that time. At that time, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to kill himself. I don't want to be the reason he's going to kill himself. So I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. Don't worry about anything. At that point, I'm like, I'm not leaving. Because if I leave, this broken individual is going to take their own life. And I could not live with that because I loved him. I felt like I want to protect him. And I don't maybe I did do something wrong. When he's done going through this, I'll ask him what I did wrong so I can stop doing that and never do it again. That's all I was thinking at that point. I still remember because I'm like tiny. I climbed over, sat on his lap, and I just held him. And he's like, let's go back to the hotel. So we drive back to the hotel, go to the room. He gets in bed, falls asleep immediately. And then once again, I'm just laying there, like reliving it all in my head over and over, like the way he looked, the way he put his hands on me, the people yelling, the chaos, the girl, the guy, the guys, the party, what he had told me after. I was lost in all of that, just reliving it and trying to make sense. I just remember laying there thinking, like, did he really do that? Did that really happen? Did he really put his hands on you? Does that really hurt? Like, I was emotionally, physically in pain, and it was because of somebody who said that they loved me. There were so many times I wanted to wake him up and be like, why did you do that? What happened? What's going on? Why did you lie about your ex? And even looking back, you want to know what's the saddest part about everything I just said? That I was laying there feeling more hurt about the fact that he lied about his ex and thinking about all the things they must have been doing together rather than him putting his hands on me. I cared more about my ego than I cared about my life. The illusion of being the woman that's picked the one. I was so disconnected from my own self-worth. And let me tell you guys something. That's what abuse does. It shrinks your world until the abuser becomes the center of your identity. And Pan had become the center of mine. And I allowed the cycle to continue because the next morning he said, let's go wash the car and have a fun day. And there I was, dressed up, sitting with a coffee in hand as we were going to wash his car. And on the ride over, we didn't even talk about it. It's as if it didn't even happen. We just moved on back to holding hands. Everything is tender. Everything's soft and sweet and loving. No talk about what had happened the night before at all. I didn't bring it up. He definitely didn't bring it up. We get to the car wash, go through it. As we get out, he's drying the car and he's like doing a dance and being cute again. And I'm just happy because I'm like, alhamdulillah, he's in good spirits again. It's nice to see him happy. I just wanted to see him happy. As he wanted to see me happy, I wanted the same for him. And so I'm just like, oh, alhamdulillah, he's happy. Look at his smile. Aw. And just at that moment, I get a text message from a woman who was a literary agent. I'd started writing a manuscript called 51 Fridays, which documented my dad's obsession with getting me married before I turned 25 and expired. I sent out the chapters to a few lit agents, and one of them had just responded to me. So you can only imagine, I was so excited. I was on cloud nine. That was my dream. It still is my dream to publish a book, to have a publisher publish my work. I'm smiling. All I'm thinking is like, oh my God, here's this New York lit agent that wants to meet me about my work, right? So it was so exciting. I'm just taking this quick moment to say that if you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to subscribe right now. And if you do not have your notifications turned on, turn it on so you do not miss any future posts. Moving on. Pan comes into the car. He's like, what's going on? I tell him. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is your opportunity. Let's go to New York. Okay. And he didn't just say, let's go to New York. He sat there. He booked the flight, booked the hotel. Everything was set. This is one of the first times in my life I had ever had an opportunity presented to me and I was able to follow it through. Okay. There was always seemed some reason why I couldn't do it, but that wasn't happening. Here I was with an amazing opportunity. And Pan was making sure I could see that one through. I felt like everything in my life was starting to align. What happened the day before with Pan, everything that with the ex, everything erased out of my mind. The whole thing was so exciting. And it also felt so nice to have your partner so supportive of you. Pan was saying how this is my dream and how he believes in me and how he knows I'm going to do something amazing with my life. And I need to get to New York and I need to see this through. And artists don't often have that type of support, especially financially. Most artists were like me, broke. It was amazing. So everything was going well. We meet up a few days before the trip to go shopping to get some necessities and stuff. And while we're driving over, we get into the conversation about my blog and I start talking about how excited I am. Yes, mama. Hold on, guys. Let me feed my cat. A few days before the trip, we end up going to do some shopping to get essentials that we needed. And on the drive over, we got into a conversation about like my blog and stuff. And I was talking about how excited I was and how I've been working so hard to get to this moment and to be able to get close enough to have my work published and for the world to hear Musrab's stories and really hear our stories. And then Pan starts saying that I shouldn't be talking about the community. I shouldn't be talking about the culture. I should be protecting the community. There's so many people against us. Look what happened after 9/11. Look at how much racism and Islamophobia there is, and that my work would only encourage that. And I'm like, wait a second. What? How is my work doing any of those things? You know, he didn't sound like the guy I had met that was so encouraging and go do this. And I agree with everything you're saying. You're not saying anything wrong. It was no longer that. It was that what I was doing, what I was saying was wrong. And it was not going to help the community or help my family or anybody that I loved or respected. It would actually hurt them. This was such a hard adjustment for me because, as I said, I was thinking I was sitting next to somebody who was supportive, who would be there for me and encouraged me in my work, saw my dreams, the reasons behind why I said and did what I did. He was no different than the people that took down my website, that were talking down on my name. He was no different than any of them who judged me for being a half-breed and something was wrong with me if I even had those opinions about Muslims or Arab. Naturally, I'm taken aback by this. Like, what? Where did this person come in from? And then Pan said something that triggered me, which is you want to make sure you're protecting your reputation. Everything you're doing, you have to make sure you're protecting your reputation. You don't want to walk around with a bad name. I got so angry. And I say to him, like, here's the same guy talking about reputation when you went ahead and were going to throw my name out there because I didn't bleed when we shish kebab the first time. Pan snapped. He snapped. My voice was raised. I was moving my hands and he didn't like it. So he grabbed, I don't even know why he didn't grab my left arm, but he grabbed my right arm and he was holding on to it. So he's like driving and holding on to my hand. When we get to a stop, I'm with every bit in my being, I am pulling my hand away from this guy, right? So I'm like, legs are going into it, everything. I'm putting my legs, my back, everything into it. And he suddenly releases my hand. So my hand slams against the window. And I immediately feel pain. Like immediately. I've broken bones in my past. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just broke my wrist. I'm in pain, so I'm like crying. And he's like, you're exaggerating. You're just faking. It's not broken. You're just saying that. You're looking for attention. Which sounded very familiar to me. Because when I was 5 years old, I was playing with my friends. There were some friends over our house and one of the girls had put me on her shoulders. And I'm like waiting there and, we were playing back and forth and she accidentally dropped me. And when I fell, I landed in the corner of the dresser and right on my knee. I was crying. I was in pain. And what did my dad say? Oh, she's just lying. She's looking for attention. Ignore her. When I couldn't even eat dinner because I was in so much pain. My dad, everybody was sitting eating, and my dad goes, stop exaggerating, walk over here. You could walk over here. And I had to walk from my room over to the dinner table. And you guys, I could not walk. I was in pain. I was like limping, And my dad says, see, she's fine. Just ignore her. She's looking for attention. My mom was like, something's off, I don't know if she's looking for attention or if she's actually in pain. So my mom takes me to the ER. And I get an x-ray, do the whole thing. I get discharged, no broken bone. Okay, that's what they said. Nope, you could just send her home, put some ice on it. She should be fine in a few days. My mom tells my dad. My dad's like, see, I told you. Liar. She's lying. Okay, she's just looking for attention. Allah yarhamu. For 9 days, I walked around. Blocks. Because we didn't sometimes have a car, so we had to walk back and forth to school or back and forth to the center, the community center that we had at that time. I had to walk in pain. I still remember it. I'm 40 years old today, and I still remember the pain that I had and how hard that was to walk blocks in pain and nobody's believing you. The hospital calls my dad, and they said that they had someone look at the x-ray again and to get me back in there ASAP because my knee was broken. and they had misread the x-ray. My mom was so fucking pissed. My dad felt bad. Not that he showed it. Allah yarhamu, but my dad was just, he was different. My parents take me to the hospital and I get a cast put all the way up to my hip that I had to wear for almost 3 months. So hearing Pan say that to me, that I was just exaggerating, that it was just, you're lying, you're just looking for attention, felt very much like me at 5 years old. Here I was with Pan saying the same thing. Like, you're just exaggerating, there's nothing wrong, you're just looking for attention. You're trying to make me feel bad, he'd say. You're just trying to make me feel bad. He drops me home and my mom could see that I'm in a lot of pain. And I'm like, oh, I fell, I hurt my wrist, I hope it's not broken. And night goes on, it's getting more and more painful, it's getting more and more swollen. So my mom's like, we got to go to the ER. Went to do the x-ray, came back waiting for the results. The doctors come in, there were 2 of them that came in, and they come in, it was 2 women, and the first thing they ask me is, how did you break your wrist again? And all I'm thinking, my mom's looking at me, they're looking at me, and I'm like, uh-oh, do they know something? I don't know. Is there some clear sign they're able to tell that this was done by a guy? And I said, oh, I just tripped and I fell and I landed on my wrist. I was trying to use my wrist to break the fall. And she said, the way that your wrist is broken right now, it's very hard to break your wrist like that. So do you mind again telling me again, how did you break it? And so I again just repeated the same lie. And I get a temporary cast on. They tell me to go see a specialist. As I'm looking at it, all I remember thinking is, I wish I had somebody I could talk to right now. I wish I had somebody I could tell what's going on to. But I couldn't tell my mom. I didn't have any friends I could tell. The only friends I had were already married with kids, living very different lives at this point. They would not have understood Faiza, the girl who's still single, who's still unmarried, and going through this trauma in her life right now. I didn't think those doors were open or that they would understand. And sadly, I was later, as we'll get to, proven right that I would not have been able to trust those individuals anyway. So thank God I didn't tell them anything at that point. Although, if I had, they would have told my family, and that would have got me out of the situation sooner. So maybe it would have been better. So instead, I just isolated myself in that pain. And to be fair, I wouldn't have wanted anyone to know the trouble that this strong woman who was always talking about women should be able to do things themselves. And I didn't want anyone to know what that woman had gotten herself into. I didn't want anyone to be proven right, that I didn't in fact know what was best for me, that a woman always needed a man. Men know what's best for a woman. Women don't. A woman can't choose her own life. A woman can't make her own decisions, because when she does, well, look what happens. Look what happens to her when she does. I did not want anyone to be proven right in that at all. So I isolated myself and I didn't tell anybody what was going on. I couldn't imagine sitting down to tell somebody that I was with someone who claimed to love me but put their hands on me. And then I was also so used to the same person to bring me the poison to bring me the cure. Well, yeah, Pan is a bunch of darkness, but he also brings me so much light. They put the temporary cast on, and first thing I do is send a picture to Pan. All right. Might have been manipulative, might have been petty. It's not something I would ever listen to a client say and be like, that's good, you should stay with that individual. I would tell you, get the fuck out. If you have to start proving your pain and the hurt someone else inflicts on you to them so they can believe you, oh, get out. Just get out. Don't send them a picture of how they hurt you, of you crying, of you and going through a whole anxiety or panic attack. Don't do any of that. Send them a picture of a door and use it to get yourself out. Get out real quick, honey. Leave. Doesn't get any better. When Pan gets a picture, he's panicking. He's crying. He's trying to call me. He's apologizing. Oh my God, I'm fucked up. Something's wrong with me. I can't take this anymore. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, he's going to kill himself. He's going to kill himself. He's going on and on and on and on. I'm fucked up. There's something wrong with me. And then he says, I need therapy. I need help. I need professional help. And he starts swearing on the Quran, on his mom, on his dad, on his family, and everything he loves, that he's going to get a therapist and he's going to go get professional help if I go with him. I agreed. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. It made me feel like he was being proactive, like he was taking steps to change. He was taking accountability. And that made me feel like, okay, well, that's good, right? I did not love myself. He starts saying that It was just the tone of my voice and the way I was moving my hands. It made him feel like I don't respect him. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's my fault. I shouldn't have brought him to that point. I should have known better. I do know he has his limits. I know he has a temper. I know he can't control that. I know he's been through some horrible things in his life and he's trying to heal through that and he's suffering right now. Be patient, honey. Be patient. If you could be patient with other people who've hurt you, why can't you be patient with Pan? That's my mentality at this time. All right. And so you can understand that mentality makes it very easy for a woman to find reasons to stay. I didn't look at my cast and think, oh my God, he's dangerous. He's going to hurt me. Look what he's capable of. As much as I should have been thinking that. It came in, out, out. That's all it did. It was always a passing thought, a passing reality check, a passing piece of logic that I should have been simmering on that I just did not. I believe it was at that exact moment that I can pinpoint that Pan broke my mind. Truly, he was completely in control at that point. Completely in control. I mean, how could he not be? He saw everything he was able to get away with. He can even break a bone. So instead of leaving, I just tried to find more ways to avoid getting him angry, bringing him to that point and getting that validation. So I was going to do anything to avoid that and to bring him back to peace. Pan goes on to apologize and tell me that I'm very supportive of you. I'm sorry if I gave the impression that I'm not. I think you're amazing. I stand by with the things you talk about. I think that you have a lot of things you should be saying. I think you should be saying even more. He was doing really, really, really making me feel comfortable and safe again. Because I needed to see a hand specialist, Pan told me to cancel my meeting with the lit agent and schedule it for the following week so I can go see the hand specialist that had thankfully got me in pretty quickly. And I go to the hand specialist, asks the same questions to me, like, how did you break your wrist like that? Such an odd way to break your wrist. And there I am, my mom's there, and I'm just like, well, yeah, I just fell and, really silly and stupid. That's what happens when you wear heels. Same lie. I'm just lying to get by so nobody even suspects that it's the boyfriend I'm not even supposed to be having. The specialist actually ends up putting me in a Frankenstein cast. Like, it was like this. It was so uncomfortable. Pan and I don't see each other until the following week when we're going to New York. So he sends an Uber to pick me up. I lied to my mom and told her that the lit agency was sending me an Uber and flying me out and getting me a hotel because they believed that much in my work, when in fact it was Pan. So he sends an Uber, picks me up, takes me to the airport. We meet there and Pan sees the cast and he just has a laughing attack about it and starts cracking jokes about how I look and how it feels and how am I going to be able to sleep? How am I going to be able to write? All this different type of stuff. And all I was thinking at that moment is you're laughing about something you put me in. I'm in this cast right now because of you. And you think this is funny? Right? Of course, I'm thinking this. I didn't say it. I didn't want to trigger him. I didn't want to get him upset. So I was just laughing along. Yeah. Anyway, we fly to New York. And when we get there, it's rainy. It's foggy. It's not really the best weather, right? And Pan's complaining the whole time, who flies to New York at this time? What idiot is here at this point? What idiot would want to be traveling to New York right now? And I'm like, oh, us. Again, I'm thinking this. I'm not saying any of this. And I'm just laughing along and being like, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I wish it was better. Sorry, babe. Sorry. Apologizing like I was able to control the weather like a fucking idiot. Bitch, you can't control the weather. What are you apologizing for? I wish I could go back and say so many things to myself. The whole time I'm just trying to stay positive because the whole trip seemed like such a blessing. I'm going there to meet a lit agent. I'm about to possibly be signed. I'm in New York City. I'm with the man that I love. So I don't give a fuck about the weather. I'm just thinking more about the details that are so magical to me. And we get to the hotel, check in. I go to get myself ready for the meeting. And after I'm done, hair, makeup, everything's done, I come out of the bathroom, realize that he's sleeping. So I called out his name a few times. He didn't answer. So I just got my purse, my phone, start tiptoeing out of the room to get to the door. Walking over to the door, again, tiptoeing, turning the doorknob, very quiet, trying to be as quiet as I possibly can so I don't wake him up. And as I'm getting out or starting to get out the door, what do I hear him say? Now I see how sneaky you can be. And I remember getting a little startled because I'm like, first, I didn't expect to hear his voice, but then two, what he said. What do you mean how sneaky I could be? right? So I walk back over. I say, I'm so sorry, babe. I thought you were sleeping. I didn't want to wake you up. And he goes, no, no, no. Now I see that if you ever wanted to leave this room or leave any room we're in together, I see exactly how you're going to do it. I see you. I see you. And he keeps going on with that. And all I'm thinking is, I have to go to my meeting. And I say to him, babe, I'm so sorry for whatever I just did. I thought you were sleeping. I really need to get to my meeting. He just kept going and going and going. And I say to him, Pan, I really need to get to my meeting. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'll see you in a little bit. I promise. I walk out. When I got out of the hotel room, when I closed the hotel door and started walking down the hallway, relief filled me. Like, I wanted to get into that elevator. I wanted to get downstairs and just get the fuck out of the hotel. So I knew I can get to this meeting because something just made me believe he'll stop that meeting from happening. And I walk over to the restaurant, which wasn't too far from us. And I get there. It's a French place, beautiful, high class French restaurant. And I'm sitting down waiting. And I just remember sitting there, you guys, feeling like my life was about to change. Like, I wasn't even thinking about Pan at that moment. It felt very full circle. The lit agent comes in. We're sitting down, talking, having lunch. And her questions are like, what inspired you to write this story? I could tell that this is something that's very personal for you, that this has happened. Tell me what inspired it. So I started telling her about how my dad was obsessed with getting me married and the whole Arab cultural perspective of a woman turns 25 and she's officially expired. And that was the reason my dad was so obsessed with getting me married before I expired. And she just loved it. She's like, you need to continue writing it, get it done. And when you do, I would like to read it and I would like to help you get that story told. What a beautiful feeling for a writer. I left that meeting. I called my mom, who knew about my dreams of wanting to write and be published. And I called her. We were both crying. We felt like our lives were just about to change and so much had come full circle. And my mom was like, your dad would have been so proud of you. And even if I didn't believe that, I still thought my dad would have at least got some comfort in knowing maybe things will get financially a little bit better for us now. And so, yeah, I took a walk around the block a couple of times. I didn't want to go back to the hotel just yet. I was on such a high and I just wanted to live that. When I get back to the hotel, I get to the room, Pan's still sleeping. And I didn't want to tiptoe or anything because I didn't want him to feel, get that anxiety again. So I just walk over to him and I touch his back. I say, babe, I'm back. And guess who has a lit agent? And he doesn't say anything at first. So I, started tapping him a little bit more and trying to wake him up, being very tender. And he's like, babe, don't you see I'm tired? And I was like, no, babe, I just wanted to tell you I have a lit agent. It was a celebratory moment, right? That's what we came to New York for. And he goes, what about me being tired? Are you not understanding? I was like, I was embarrassed. I wished I had stayed out a little bit longer. I was like, man, you should have just gone out, girl, a little bit longer till he woke up. You could have been at that meeting that long. He wouldn't have known any better. So I regretted coming back to the hotel, but there I was. And he says, why don't you just sleep and we'll go ahead and, go out and celebrate later on tonight. I wasn't tired. I was on a high. I wasn't tired at all. I was on a high. I wanted to go for a walk. I wanted to go out to celebrate. I wanted to do something else besides go to bed. But he kept insisting. And so I just was like, all right, well, let me just go ahead and nap for a little bit. We ended up sleeping till the next morning. We go to breakfast. No talk about the lit agent. He didn't ask me any questions about it. And because he didn't ask anything, I didn't initiate any conversation about it because I didn't want there to be a problem. He didn't seem excited about it at that moment. He didn't want to talk about it at all. So we just didn't discuss it. And that night we went to dinner and I was like, thank you so much for the celebratory dinner, babe. And he's like, celebratory? What are we celebrating? Which only validated the reason why I didn't feel like bringing it up. Because I'm like, oh yeah, he doesn't even know that we're here to celebrate that my meeting with that lit agent went well, and that was worth celebrating to me. So I said, babe, about, the lit agent. And he goes, oh, yeah. Let's focus on the sushi and, what rolls do you want to get? And he went right back straight to the menu. I'm not a sushi fan. I've never been a sushi fan unless Maybe one day somebody can change that. But Pan loved sushi. So we went to this like really, really super expensive sushi place. And so he's going through the menu. What rolls do you want? Focus on that. What do you really want to get? What are you going to eat? And I ended up getting a noodle dish. He got all these rolls. We had a good dinner. It was very nice. The dinner was beautiful. Food was delicious. And then the waitress comes to drop off the check. Pan puts his card. A few minutes later, waitress comes back to say that Pan's card was declined. What a moment. What a moment. I will tell you guys, nothing prepares a woman to sit across a man whose card gets declined. It is so awkward. I felt badly for him. And I'm just looking as she has the check down there, and I realize that it's like over $200 for the dinner. And all I'm thinking is, if I have to pay this right now, that's all the money I have. Like, I wasn't rich. I didn't have any money. That $200 was the budget for the entire trip for me. But I'm like, all right, well, I'll put it down so that we could cover the dinner, of course. And Pan goes, no, I got it. He pulls out another card, puts the card down. Woman goes to swipe it. Everything's fine. As we're going back to the hotel, Pan says, I need to go to the bank tomorrow morning, find out what's going on. The next morning, we go to the bank, and I'm sitting in the lobby for like 45 minutes to an hour. He was in there for quite some time. And when he comes out, he doesn't look very happy. And all I'm thinking is, oh God, like what happened? He goes, let's go. We walk out, and at first he doesn't say anything. We just walk out. And as we're walking a little bit more, he lights a cigarette, and he says to me, this relationship is getting very expensive for me. Like, really expensive for me. Like, you're draining me. Now, I was floored because money's not a conversation, especially at that time, that I was comfortable having at all, you guys. Because deep down, money equaled shame for me. I had a horrible relationship with money, especially because I didn't grow up with it. So talking about it always felt embarrassing or shameful or unsafe. Truly, I did not feel safe enough to talk about it. It always made me feel like such a burden. I felt like I was a burden to my dad. It's not like I had a job. We weren't raised to go get jobs and be your own independent person. As I've said before, I was raised to go be a wife. So I was financially dependent on my dad, which I felt like a burden to. And even if Pan wasn't financially supporting me by paying my bills or giving me an allowance or paying for my nails or nothing like that, but he was financially supporting the relationship in the sense that dinners, outings, dates, he paid for all of that. He paid for the trip to New York. So any trips we were taking, any dinners we were taking, all of that, he covered. And he always seemed like he wanted to. And I had thought the same thing Pan had always said, that he was a provider, that he wanted to do those things in the relationship, that he felt that that was his responsibility anyway. In the dating process, I thought things were going as they should be going. And Pan was, up to that point, very comfortable with that. And then there he was, not comfortable anymore. And then it just kept getting worse too, because he was saying no fancy dinners anymore, no fancy outings. There's no reason for us doing that. We could do low-key things. We don't have to be going here. We don't have to be going there. I hated the conversation. I felt like my dignity was being drained and drained and drained. He starts telling me that I need to find a real job, that I can't depend on this writing thing anymore, and that I need to be focusing on more realistic things. And he goes on like, this lady, is she even paying you? And I'm like, no, she's not paying. She's a lit agent. So we're developing this, and then, hopefully it gets into the right hands, and then they would pay. So it is a little bit of a gamble, but I believe in that gamble. I have a lot of faith in it, and so does she. And he was like, that's fucked up. That's crazy. Live in the real world. You need money. That's reality. You can't be walking around like that. He's just going on and on and on, saying dreams aren't going to pay your bills. You need to find a real job. And that was so hard for me, because once again, all the support I felt that I had from him, gone, completely gone. All the feeling like I could do anything, gone. He'll support me in anything, gone. All those dreams were now crushed. Now there were limitations. Now there were boundaries. Now there were things that I should no longer be doing. And I just wasn't prepared for that. He goes on and on. Again, the conversation in the car. Besides, you don't want to be working with somebody who doesn't understand the culture, who doesn't understand the religion. You're going to go and talk about the community. You're going to go talk about other things that you shouldn't be talking about. You're going to ruin Muslims. You're going to ruin the Arab name. You're going to encourage Islamophobia. You're going to encourage people to say this about Muslims, do that towards Muslims. And I had gone from believing so much in myself, in my dreams, and everything I wanted to do, to believing in nothing, to just believing it was best to just exist in silence there. I had gone from that trip being a validation that my dreams were possible, that I could do anything, to I was nothing, that those dreams were unrealistic, that it was stupid, that I was not going to be going anywhere, that I shouldn't be wasting my time, that I should be thinking about money, that I should be thinking about taking care of my family, that I can't take care of my family with dreams, I could take care of them with money. What I hate more than anything is that I listened. I came home. I didn't contact the agent. I didn't follow through on continuing my writing to get that manuscript done, to push myself to try to get something published. I didn't do that. Instead, I came home to a whole list of different job applications that Pan had sent me and told me to apply for this and apply for that and apply for this and apply for that. And what did I do? I sat down and I applied. And I applied for the jobs. Nothing I wanted to do. Everything Pan thought I should be doing. And of course, when he knew that I was applying for those jobs, that's when he was, I'm so proud of you, babe. Look at you. I'm so proud of you. You really make me so proud. You're amazing. You really inspire me. That's all I wanted. I'm like, oh, yay. He's proud of me again. Oh, he sees me again. He's smiling again. Everything's great. And for that approval, I put aside my writing. I put aside my dreams. I put aside myself, my mission, my purpose, the reason God sent me to this planet. I threw it aside. Why? Because it made Pan feel better.